Hello there everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race C Race and Stretch Guide, where we're off to the Nurburgring 24-hour layout and we are in the hot mess that is Group 1. We've got 3 laps to get around, tyre wear at times 3, fuel at times 2, just the racing medium tyres available. There is a mandatory pit stop in this one, BOP is on, damage is light, slipstream is custom, and we have a rolling start. For your settings allowed is just the brake balance. It has been a wee while since we had a setup race for Daily Race C now, it has to be said. So yeah, this is a fresh combination, certainly something we have never done before in Daily Race C. In fact, I don't even remember doing Group 1 cars around the Nurburgring 24-hour layout or the Nordschleife in Gran Turismo Sport, so definitely something new, and we certainly have to commend Polyphony Digital for that. However, the question is, how popular will this race be, and have they got the settings right to actually make it quite good, quite fun to race? Let's find out as we move into some racing action. Now, there is a reason for this video being a little bit delayed, and that is because I am currently quite under the weather with the old COVID. It's hit me pretty hard and I just didn't feel up to it on Monday morning, to be honest with you. I did jump in and do a number of races, some of the races in the Toyota TS050 here that were in for this one, and some races in the Audi R18, which looks like it is the best car for this race. But in the early stages of the week, people were experimenting with some different cars. For example, this character here in the Genesis X thingy that has insane acceleration when the hybrid kicks in, and also quite a robust nose as well, apparently, as they push my car out the way. And this, of course, is the problem with Group 1 and why I refer to it as a hot mess. Now, Group 1 has around about 20 different cars in it, but the cars have very, very different characteristics. There's literally like 4 different groups of cars within one group. No idea why the Germany in the Porsche decided to brake so heavily for the Schumacher S's there. We go into the back of them, they pick up a half-second penalty, we get damage to the front. But yes, when you've got cars with very, very different characteristics racing against each other, so some of them are good in the corner, some of them get good acceleration, and some of them have crazy top speed, but then you try to balance them so that they all do very similar lap times, it can lead to very chaotic racing, which is why PD really should have kind of picked one category from Group 1 and limited car selection to that. So these early races on Monday and going into sort of Monday afternoon, there was still a lot of people picking, let's just say, cars that were a little bit of a nightmare to have to race against. Now, as the week progresses, it will settle down, and it looks like the Audi R18, the LMP1 from 2016, is going to be the car of choice. Because to be honest with you, even the LMP1s, which were so well balanced back in Gran Turismo Sport, the Porsche, the Audi and the Toyota, even they are not very well balanced now in comparison to each other. Specifically, I guess, more than anything around this racetrack, with the Audi having much greater top end compared to the Porsche and the Toyota. The GR010, the kind of hypercar from Toyota, does seem to be a little bit competitive as well. So again, just an example there of why having cars with very different characteristics do not mix together, because the Genesis had to brake so early into that corner, the Porsche in front of me goes into the back of them, I went into the back of the Porsche, and the Genesis went off, the Porsche spun out, and I picked up a 3-second penalty. So yeah, lots of points there for PD because of not limiting this to specific cars. So the yellow flag is going to probably be pretty busy this week as well. We move up into P8 here, courtesy of people binning it. When these cars kind of hit the curbs around here, a lot of the curbs around the Nurburgring, the Nordschleife part of the track, are pretty high, so the car can get quite imbalanced there. These cars do run pretty low to the ground. So we serve our 3-second penalty there, and we find ourselves down in P7, and we're going to move down into P8 here, coming to the end of lap 1. It's been a chaotic lap, let's put it that way. The field spread in these Group 1 cars is pretty vast as well, and we're going to just decide to come in here and make our mandatory pit stop at the end of lap 1. You really have a choice of 2 laps to pit at the end of the day, don't you? It's only a 3-lap race. Do you pit on lap 1? Do you pit on lap 2? We're going to pit here at the end of lap 1. We'll take a look at the pit loss and the fuel. So when you do make your mandatory pit stop, you have the choice on whether you're going to change the tyres or not. You don't have to change the tyres will get to the end. On this race here, we did change the tyres, and the difference between changing the tyres and not changing the tyres is 2.8 seconds. I'll show you a race after this one where we don't change the tyres, just to give you an idea of what the tyre wear is like. My kind of feeling is that you will gain the 2.8 seconds back over the lap if you do change the tyres, because on the race where I didn't change the tyres did feel pretty bad. But if you do change the tyres, you are going to be in the pits for 18.4 seconds. If you don't change the tyres, you're going to be in the pits for 15.6. And fuel is going to be no issue whatsoever, with around about half the tank being burned off over the course of the race. So a pretty short pit stop. Group 1 does tend to be pretty short compared to kind of your likes of Group 3 and Group 4. And that was pretty much it for this race here, to be honest with you. In mine, not surprisingly, as the stars align, we managed to finish this one in P7, bringing the Toyota TS050 home for a P Wombo max power. Also in the TS050, getting a P5. But in this early part of the week, you probably could make a car that wasn't particularly competitive compared to the R18 work a little bit better, which was the case in that one. As the week progresses, you're going to see the vast majority of people driving the Audi R18 from 2016, and this is as an example as to why it's probably the better car for this track. So the Nordschleife has some very long sections of track, but it's all about top end, at least 3 of them, and you can see the difference between the Audi, which is just overtaking us there, and the Toyota. It just has much better top end. It's just free lap time at the end of the day, despite the fact it's probably not quite as good in the corners as the Toyota. Now, looking at the tyre wear there, you can see that the tyres will get to the end on the free laps without changing tyres, but I definitely felt the difference in grip on this run on this last lap here. We do pick up a P3, which was very nice indeed, and that allows me to segue into Wombo's weekly custom rant. So yes, it is a custom slipstream this week. It's probably the right call given the dirt air that's given off by Group 1 cars, but more importantly than that, we don't want the fast boys starting at the back, taking their R18s, throwing their toys out the pram, going home and refusing to race because they can't look good to their fans as they overtake us slower drivers because of dirty air and understeer and the car won't turn. But I'm glad PD are keeping the fast boys happy. The rest of us, as mere mortals, we'll just deal with the usual shit show that custom slipstream brings. But thank you very much for listening. We'll do it all again next week. Well, hopefully, maybe not next week. Maybe we'll not have custom slipstream. But let's move on to the strategy options in this one. There's basically 4 strategies you can do in this. It's only 3 laps, so you either have to pit on lap 1 or lap 2. It is as simple as that, and you either change your tyres or you don't change the tyres. And to be honest with you, there's pros and cons for all of them. And it's one of these races where a little bit of luck comes into play. So for example, you pit at the end of lap 1, you don't change your tyres, you want to save 2.8 seconds in the pit stop, but the way the fuel spread can be in this one, people spinning out, crashing, you may well run into traffic anyway. I've seen that happen to a number of people yesterday. You can change the tyres and pit at the end of lap 1 as well, so you've got a bit of better grip on the last lap compared to people that don't change the tyres. Obviously it costs you 2.8 seconds. I don't think it's a great deal of time to sacrifice, given it's like a 23-minute race. Obviously then you've got pit on lap 2 and change the tyres as well. Pit lap 2, don't change the tyres. Again, the same things come into play. It's one of those ones where no strategy is actually really quicker than the other. They're all very similar. It's all about just trying to maybe find that clear bit of track, get a bit of space, put in some decent corners, some decent sectors, and see where you come out at the end. That's really all I can say about this one. I know it's not exactly maybe what you're looking for, but it's just the way some of these races work out. Whatever strategy you do, there's not like one strategy that's like 5-6 seconds quicker than the other. If you don't change the tyres, you will be slower on that last lap, but you know, maybe only by about 3 to 4 seconds, which is kind of the difference between changing the tyres and not. That's all I've got to say for this one. I will commend Polyphony Digital for giving us a fresh combination. Always give credit where credit is due. So Group 1 around the Nordschleife, who would have thought but it's actually quite good fun. The cars are really good to drive, maybe not the best for racing, and the way these kind of cars work and the way the kind of skill differences can work between drivers as well means that contact and collisions are going to be inevitable. The mix of cars, if you maybe lower down the splits, this is probably going to be worse as you get up the splits and races get more competitive. More people will just diverge to the meta car, which is looking like the Audi R18, so the races will kind of be a little bit more sensible at that point. But yes, if you've got like Group C cars or your VGT cars and LMP cars and hybrid cars all in the same race, it's going to be a complete and utter cluster. Overall, probably give this one about a 7 out of 10. It is a fresh combination after all, and it's a good combination. Group 1 around the Nurburgring 24 hours does actually work. It's a nice drive, bit of strategy in there as well. Yeah, 7 out of 10 seems about right. Always room for improvement, of course, but yes, PD are not going to change some of the things we've been complaining about for a long time, so why would they start changing them now? That's it though, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye now.